There is an invisible expectation in modern society that we must remain unblemished. We are told to hide our struggles, mask our exhaustion, and present a flawless facade to the world. But life, by its very nature, is a series of impacts. At some point, every single one of us will experience a moment that shatters our sense of reality, whether through loss, heartbreak, burnout, or trauma. When those breaks happen, our instinct is to hide the pieces. We try to glue our lives back together in secret, desperate to pretend the damage never occurred. But what if the most radical idea the world has ever produced suggests the exact opposite? In 1996, a groundbreaking shift occurred in psychological research, changing how we understand human suffering forever. Scientists discovered that trauma does not have to be the end of a person's story. Instead, the fracture itself can become the exact foundation for an entirely new, more resilient version of self. This is the science of a Kintsugi mind, and the ultimate blueprint for turning your deepest scars into gold. For nearly a century, Western psychology viewed trauma almost entirely through a lens of damage. The focus was, and often still is, on post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. We are taught to look at adversity as a thief, something that enters our lives to permanently steal our peace, our safety, and our wholeness. And for many, the statistics seem to support this fear, with roughly 25% of adults who endure a major life crisis developing clinical PTSD. But in the mid-1990s, psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun realized that this clinical focus was only telling half the story. They began studying individuals who had survived catastrophic life changes, people who had endured severe physical disabilities, the sudden loss of loved ones, or combat. What they discovered shocked the psychological community. They found that approximately 65% of trauma survivors, nearly 2/3, reported positive psychological changes that went far beyond mere survival. Tedeschi and Calhoun coined a new term for this phenomenon: post-traumatic growth. To measure this growth, they developed a comprehensive inventory tracking 5 specific domains of human transformation. First, survivors reported a dramatically increased appreciation for life, where everyday moments took on a profound new value. Second, they experienced deeper, more authentic relationships, having weeded out superficial connections in favor of raw empathy. Third, they discovered a heightened sense of personal strength, a quiet knowing that if they could survive the worst, they could handle anything. Fourth, they identified entirely new possibilities and paths for their lives that they never would have explored before the crisis. And fifth, they experienced a profound spiritual and philosophical deepening. Post-traumatic growth proved that human beings are not like glass, which shatters and loses its utility forever. We are built to adapt. The break is real, but it is not the definition of the vessel. Long before modern data put a clinical name to this psychological evolution, its principles were forged in the darkest fires of human history. During the Second World War, a brilliant Austrian psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl was arrested and deported. For 3 years, he endured the horrors of Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz. Stripped of his career, his identity, and his freedom, his name replaced with a tattooed number. Before the war ended, his wife, his parents, and his brother would all perish in the camps. In an environment designed to systematically destroy the human spirit, Frankl noticed something profound. The prisoners who gave up hope were often the first to perish, but those who survived were not necessarily the physically strongest. They were those who managed to hold on to a sense of purpose. They found meaning in a memory, in a shared piece of bread, or in the determination to survive and tell the world what happened. From that unfathomable darkness, Frankl emerged to write Man's Search for Meaning, a masterpiece sold in 52 languages, and outlined the foundation of logotherapy, built on a single belief. The primary human drive is not pleasure or power. It is the search for meaning. He wrote one sentence that serves as the ultimate anchor for human resilience. Everything can be taken from a person except one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. This is the psychological bridge to Kintsugi. The trauma occurs. Your life shatters on the floor. You cannot unbreak the past. The cracks are permanent facts of your history, but you hold the brush. You cannot choose the fracture, but you possess the radical freedom to decide what fills it. You can leave the cracks raw and bleeding, or you can choose gold. We must understand the physical discipline of the Kintsugi artisan to truly understand how to turn trauma into gold. In our modern, hyper-connected culture, we are addicted to speed. We want instant healing, 1-minute breakthroughs, and immediate recovery. We treat emotional pain like a technical glitch that needs a quick software patch. But traditional Kintsugi offers a quiet, beautiful rebellion against this frantic pacing. A genuine ceramic repair cannot be rushed. It typically requires 2 to 3 months of continuous, meticulous work, and complex breaks can take up to a year. The secret lies in the binding agent, urushi lacquer. This natural sap, harvested from the Toxicodendron vernicifluum tree, is remarkably temperamental. It does not dry through evaporation like modern synthetic glues. Instead, it cures through polymerization, a chemical reaction that can only happen in a highly specific, warm, and hyperhumid environment. He artisan applies a single, micro-thin layer of lacquer and then places the vessel away in a specialized curing cabinet for days, sometimes a full week, just for that single layer to harden. The process must be repeated over and over, layer by layer, coat by coat, waiting, watching, and allowing the material to mature on its own natural terms. This sacred slowness embodies a profound Japanese concept known as gaman. Rooted in Zen Buddhism, gaman translates roughly to enduring the unendurable with patience and dignity. It is the emotional discipline of remaining patient through a long, agonizing process without giving up. There is an active tension on social media today, where creators flood the internet with instant kintsugi, using quick-drying chemical epoxies and synthetic gold spray paint. It delivers a fast look, but it lacks lineage. It is fragile, and it is toxic. True psychological resilience mirrors the traditional craft. You cannot fake the curing time of a shattered life. You cannot skip the weeks of dark, quiet isolation in the cabinet and jump straight to the gold lines. Healing requires you to honor the slowness. It demands that you respect the time it takes for your layers to harden. Today, trauma-informed therapists and clinical art practitioners are taking this ancient ceramic metaphor and turning it into a literal tool for psychological recovery. In creative arts therapy sessions around the world, clients are given a simple, whole ceramic bowl. They are asked to intentionally break it, shattering the clay into pieces. For many trauma survivors, the sound of that ceramic breaking triggers a visceral emotional response. It represents the moment their diagnosis arrived, the day their relationship ended, or the event that fractured their sense of identity. But then, the therapeutic work begins. Under the guidance of a practitioner, the client takes the pieces and begins the slow, deliberate process of reassembling them. As they mix the lacquer and carefully dust the seams with golden powder, they participate in a powerful act of narrative therapy. Narrative therapy is built on the understanding that we are the authors of our own lives. When we experience a severe trauma, our old narrative is completely disrupted. Our story stops making sense. By physically mending the bowl, patients are guided to re-author their internal pain. They learn that they do not have to erase their past to have a future. They do not have to throw away the broken pieces of who they used to be. As one prominent trauma therapist described the process, in healing work, we aren't trying to return the patient to exactly who they were before the crisis. That person no longer exists. Instead, we work to integrate the painful experiences into their identity, transforming the scar from a source of shame into a badge of honor. The gold does not hide the wound, it highlights it. It proclaims to anyone who looks at the vessel, this object faced destruction. It endured the curing process, and it survived to become a masterpiece. The collectors of feudal Japan understood this wisdom so deeply that they openly prized kintsugi vessels far above flawless, untouched imports. They saw that a mended bowl possessed a soul, a history, and an honesty that perfection could never replicate. Some collectors were even accused of deliberately breaking their finest porcelain just to have it mended with gold. We live in a culture that worships the unblemished. We are conditioned to discard what is broken, discard what is aging, and conceal what is damaged. But the ancient lineage of the golden joinery offers us a far more compassionate truth. You are not less for having been broken. You're not disqualified by your emotional scars or diminished by your psychological fractures. The impacts of life are guaranteed. The question was never whether you would break. The question is what you will choose to fill your cracks with when you do. Do not settle for cheap epoxies or synthetic paints. Do not try to rush your curing time. Commit to the process. Embrace the sacred slowness of your repair and fill your wounds with meaning. If you are ready to build a Kintsugi mind and explore the art of resilience, subscribe to Mended in Gold.